Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I want to talk about the top 5 current carries of patch 7.32. I'm going to be going over the reasons why these heroes are good, and why they're particularly good in this patch, and weren't necessarily good in the last patch. Obviously, we'll be looking at what directly they were buffed on, but also I kind of want to talk about how the meta has shaped up to enable these heroes to be a little bit better, and let's get into that. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the GameLeap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the GameLeap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. So a big thing for me about Dota right now is that the games seem to be going a little bit longer. I'm not exactly sure why that is, and I'll make a full video on it when I figure it out, but that does seem to be the case. I've had a couple people talking to me about this, and I've noticed it too. Like, I've noticed it. The games are going a little bit longer. So heroes that tend to scale seem to be doing very well. Now, of course, most carries scale well, but there's some that stand out from the pack and were buffed this patch. And the first one that I want to talk about, the 5th best carry of the patch, is Faceless Void. And I think in the pro scene, this hero might be one of the best, if not the most reliable carry of this current patch. We saw at the recent Arlington Major, this hero be very dominant. It's quite a good laner, doesn't have a lot of bad matchups, and frankly, a lot of the heroes that countered it in lanes such as Viper actually being the biggest one, are much worse now. Viper was one of the most nerfed heroes of the patch. On top of that, Void was just straight up buffed. His Time Walk is simply a bigger range at level 4. You might be like, oh, okay, but they nerfed the Shard. It doesn't matter, right? Because his Time Walk cast range with Shard is better than what it was when the hero was already considered good. So literally Void was just straight up buffed. Like, it's just a buffed hero. And if you don't go Shard, the hero is way better. Like, it's way better, even without Shard. Now, I will say the reason why I think this hero is number 5 on the list and not number 1 is because it's very hard for a lot of players to get the hang of Void. It's a weird carry. It doesn't necessarily farm that fast. You know, you gotta hit a good chrono. You have to understand when to time walk in and when not to. And honestly, a lot of players just get too aggressive with that time walk and they end up killing themselves. So if you want a hero that can dominate pubs, like a hero to spam, Void is a great option. I just recommend you have patience. Wait till you have about 3, 4, 5 games of the hero before giving up on it, even if your first few games don't go well, because it does have a learning curve. Some of these other heroes are a little bit easier, but you know, Void does have that learning curve, but I think it pays off the better and better you get, as I do believe that this is a top carry, especially if the games are going later. Faceless Void, for a good reason, is known as one of the best late game carries in the game. They did nerf Refresher Orb, which hurts his late game a little bit, but frankly, it doesn't matter until you even get to that stage of the game. You can simply go for a build that is along the lines of Treads with a wand into Mask of Madness into Maelstrom, after Maelstrom BKB, after BKB your Shard, sometimes even before BKB, people buy Shard. If they want to get active and abuse time dilation in the early fights, they will actually pick up the Shard after the Maelstrom, you know, even before the BKB, then go back for the BKB, into the Mjolnir, into a Scotty, something along those lines, and the hero is very powerful right now. Coming in at number 4 is, funny enough, Lone Druid. Once again, comically, we're talking about a hero that was actually good last patch, but more funny is that he was actually nerfed. Like, this hero is straight up nerfed, so I just want to give you guys a heads up. It's good. This hero was good last patch. It's good now. It loses, once again, practically no lanes, and I would say some of its harder counters, some of the heroes that directly counter the hero are worse. Once again, examples of that are these toxic offlaners, the Razors, the Vipers, heroes that can kind of kill off the bear and tank the bear to an extent, are no longer nearly as good. As a result, this hero kind of shoots up, right? If it was good in the past, and then you might be like, oh, but it got nerfed. Nah, the nerf really didn't matter. All they did was nerf Roar. So basically the ability is slightly worse at level 1, 2, and 3, but the same at level 4. So it's not the end of the world. It doesn't matter too much. So why Lone Druid? What does this hero do well right now? Honestly, the hero's just in a good spot, and the armor sharing is like insane. I cannot believe every time I play against Lone Druid, I cannot believe, number 1, how bad people are at trying to kill Lone Druid. Like, the first thing you need to understand is the bear is way easier to kill than the hero. So you should only go on the hero if it's ranged form and you can silence him and not get roared away by the bear. Or if you have some really situational matchup like, I don't know, Bat Rider. But even then, Lone Druid Shard dispels him. So matchups like that are not even that bad. This hero has a lot of options against the majority of Dota matchups. It's pretty freaking insane. And to go back to what I said before, the armor stacking is nuts. The fact that you can buy these 25-minute Wraith bands that share armor between the bear and the hero, basically just giga amping both of them, is quite ridiculous. It's just, I don't know, you can't even kill the main hero. It's just straight up impossible. And so every single game I've played against Lone Druid, the hero has felt straight up insane, absolutely ridiculous, and it's definitely one I would recommend. Coming in at number 3 is Spectre. Spectre actually lost int gain this patch, and his Spectral Dagger does slightly less damage. However, if you dagger someone and there's no one around them, they actually take an instance of 60 pure damage when your Desolate is maxed out, which is pretty cool. So why is Spectre better now, and why do I think he's going to be a top carry of the patch? Number one of the cool aspects of the hero that was actually buffed is Blade Mail. If you decide to go that route, it's Blade Mail, right? So a couple things to note. Number one, once again, I hate to repeat myself in this regard, but like it kind of is the case. Heroes that struggled against some of the top, offlaners that just dominate them in lane are way better now. Once again, Viper. Does Viper still beat Spectre in lane? Yeah, Viper still beats Spectre in lane, but Viper also kind of beats Spectre in the game. However, Viper's just a way worse hero, and as a result, Spectre comes online in that regard. On top of that, if the games are going longer, I feel like I don't have to explain why that's favorable for Spectre, but if you are newer to Dota, basically Spectre is one of the best heroes in the game when it comes to the late game. Primarily for the fact that when you ulti on this hero, he gets vision of every single hero on the map. And in the mid to late game, that's unbelievably valuable. Typically, late game fights are almost solely decided by who jumps who, what hero gets gone on, and so on. And if you can get the jump on the right hero, if you can find the right hero and instantly kill them with the Spectre Manta, the game gets really, really easy. And even though I don't really think Blade Mail Spectre is particularly good, I do think it's cool that it did get buffed. At the end of the day, Blade Mail lasts for a second longer now, which if you are gonna play Spectre, which I think quite a few people are, and buy Blade Mail, which I definitely think people do, the build is better. It's just straight up much better. A full extra second on Blade Mail is a long time. It really is very noticeable. I've purchased it a couple times now, and it's extremely noticeable how good it actually is. Coming in at number 2, we have Slark. This is one of the heroes I'm most interested in when it comes to this patch, only because I feel like for a while, Slark has been situationally good, but unexplored. However, they really majorly buffed this hero. It was probably a top 3 most buffed hero of the patch. Funny enough, they decreased his agi gain, but it doesn't matter. His base attack speed is 10 higher, which makes his laning way better. It's so hard to lane against Slark now when he gets on top of you, because he simply just has 10 more attack speed. It's so noticeable. It's so noticeable when at level 1, if he has Essence Shift and you're in an unfavorable matchup, you just can't trade. He builds up stacks so fast, right? It's insane. You just cannot trade with early game Slark because that 10 attack speed makes you get more stacks of Essence Shift, which then builds on top of itself. And so it's a huge snowball effect from this increase in attack speed. On top of that, they've made it where Pounce now gives Essence Shift, and that's it's really cool because the hero in the past, if it wanted to build up Essence Shift stacks or, build up that agi, it would have to hit people. But now you can pounce and disengage. As comical and weird as that sounds, you can pounce in, right, hit them a couple times and run away. And you might be like, Speed, you could have done that in the past. But Pounce now gives 3 stacks of Essence Shift when maxed out. So basically, if you only hit them 3 times, it's fine, because if you manage to land the Pounce, you have 6 stacks of Essence. And if you do that a couple times, especially if you manage to buy an Ags, well, yeah, you're gonna do quite well. And I think a lot of tanky heroes are kind of coming back into the meta, Centaur being an interesting one, and Slark is definitely good against these types of heroes. On top of that, once again, I'm beating a dead horse, but a lot of the offlane heroes that were meta are worse. A lot of the safe lane heroes that are meta are worse, and Slark is gonna pop up as a result of this. But finally, a hero that is definitely broken. I am certain of this. Only a 52% win rate, or 51.5%. Kind of like a lot of the heroes on this list. Some are a little bit higher. Slark's slightly higher. Spectre is quite a bit higher, and that is Pudge. I do want to give some quick honorable mentions before I talk about Pudge, and that's Phantom Assassin. I think in the right game where the enemy team is primarily physical damage, Phantom Assassin is definitely insane. For instance, when she can lane against something like Beastmaster and kill him a couple times, if she can get off to a good start, this hero is quite nuts. It really can do like a lot, especially with the built-in lifesteal on Phantom Strike now. It's way more survivable and even better at trading in lane, which it already was quite good at due to its high armor and early points in evasion. And the other one is Arc Warden. Funny enough, this hero's win rate actually went down this patch. I guess it was nerfed. I actually thought the changes were good. Turns out, seemingly they're overall not. So I guess the hero is a little bit worse, but I do want to say that I still think it is a good hero. The only thing that was changed about it, considering it had a very high win rate last patch, the only thing that was changed about it is that the slow on Flux is now guaranteed. Like, it cannot be rid of, right, by people standing next to them, but the slow is less. However, it doesn't really matter, and honestly, I think the biggest reason why Arc Warden might be having a slight drop in win rate is only because when people see him on this list of heroes that are changed, or if they see him in my videos, me talking about him with a high win rate, the hero's win rate definitely can drop as a result of newer Arc Warden players trying to play one of the hardest heroes in Dota, arguably the hardest hero in Dota when it comes to maximizing a hero. And so, so I definitely don't think it's unreasonable that this hero could drop just by new players trying to play it instead of veterans that are quite good at the hero. But yeah, all right, let's talk about Pudge, my favorite hero of the patch. I mean, honestly, I'm having such a blast with Pudge. This hero, I don't know, man, it just feels absolutely insane. Like, it's straight up, I don't know, man, it just feels so freaking good because I don't think it really has many bad lane matchups. I think some of the lane matchups that can be bad are Monkey King, I think can be a little bit bad. I think Razor can be a little bit iffy, but that hero's lane got significantly worse. Even something like Ursa or Troll Warlord, which you would expect to be unplayable, kind of just isn't, because these heroes, they can get chipped down. Like, depending on what the position 4 and 5 are, if your 4 has a favorable trading matchup to the 5, Pudge can dominate most safe laners, right? So often it actually comes down to the supports in those harder matchups. But the matter of the fact is, because it comes down to that, you're going to have a lot of situations where you just beat your counters in lane. And then a lot of heroes just hate playing against Pudge altogether. I love laning Pudge against Void. Pudge against Jug is insanely good because you turn on Flesh Heap when he spins. Pudge against Deuces is really easy. Pudge against PA is quite good. You can kill her early on, and honestly, as long as you buy Ringer Protection as a starting item, you're absolutely chilling. Honestly, most of the carries are just fine. Like, even something like Slark, it might seem unplayable. It's pretty fine. Like, yeah, it's worse now because of the Slark buffs. And by the way, buy your shard if you're playing Slark. Side tangent, I forgot to mention it. Please do it. Please buy it. But most matchups are very, very playable. And if the enemy picks like an illusion carry, your Rochus is such a nice counter to these heroes. It's such a good counter. And so yeah, Flesh Heap is just an insane ability. Like, I'm realizing it more and more. The more matchups I play, the more I realize how good Flesh Heap is just as an ability. Like, for instance, I played against the Tusk recently, and I'm like, oh, tag team's gonna shred me because it shreds low armor heroes. Oh wait, every single instance of tag team is an instance of damage, which Flesh Heap blocks. So every time you get hit by someone who's autoing you with tag team, the Flesh Heap blocks the auto damage and blocks the tag team damage, and you take no damage. And that's a lot of matchups. You take no damage. It's just, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous what this hero does. And yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you disagree with this list or think I missed a hero that is broken, if you think I missed a broken hero, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd be happy to hear what you guys have to say. Nonetheless, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.